And I am the Associate Director of Clinical Operations here at Mount Sinai Morningside, and I will be your facilitator for the wonderful panel that we have here. So what I'd like to do is I would like to have my colleagues introduce themselves as I call upon them and also answer the question when I ask them. So I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask. I do ask everyone here that if they have any questions, to please write them in the chat and we will get to them at the end. If you have any kind of comments or any reflections that you might have as well, we're going to have a discussion at the end about all of those. So with that, I am going to go ahead and start. Brother Walid Javed, may you please introduce yourself and tell us, what does Ramadan mean to you?
Hi, assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Walid Javed. I'm infectious disease doctor and a hospital epidemiologist, infection control director for Mount Sinai downtown for Beth Israel, as well as Mount Sinai in Brooklyn, and several other clinical practices. For me, Ramadan is a very celebratory, very exciting time because it forever in my life, I've been kind of I grew up in an environment where whenever we had Ramadan, we had a lot of fun because of iftars and sehers, and everybody would come together, we'll eat together, we celebrate this time. This is even though the fasting has never been easy, it's always a little bit of a challenge. And first day is good, second day is off. My team now can tell you guys how they can see my my energy level go down throughout the day. But it's just an exciting time, and that's kind of what has inspired me throughout about Ramadan. Kind of neutralizes me, and also in the end the Eid is so much meaningful in after all these days. So that's what it means to me.
Thank you. And you mentioned Eid. Can you tell everyone a little bit about what Eid is and how that's different from Ramadan?
So Ramadan is a month. It's an Arabic month. It's in Islamic calendar. It's a month, and during that month we fast. Eid is our celebration. It's our Christmas, where we actually have a celebration of a prayer, and in this case, the celebration really is of successfully going through the month of Ramadan. It's so blessed month in our religion, in our belief system, that going through that successfully, or as our Imam earlier said, like there are ways we can fast. We have other you can help others to fast. If you go through the Ramadan successfully, it means you've kind of cleaned all your sins, and you're really refreshed you refresh your faith really deeply with that. So Eid is kind of the celebration of the success through Ramadan.
That's absolutely wonderful. Yes, Eid is a very celebratory time, where you're very excited to have, you're sad that the month has finished, but you're celebrating everything that has happened throughout the month. Thank you so much, Dr. Javed. Next, we have Sister Ruwaida. Sister Ruwaida, can you please introduce yourself and tell us, what do you think of when you think of the title, Sweetness of the Fast?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Ruwaida Faraj. I lead pharmacy for the downtown campus in Brooklyn. I'm also the director of the Executive Women's Leadership Program for the system now. We're looking to expand it for the system. So when I think of the sweetness of the fast, it's sort of two contradictory terms. But as Dr. Javed just shared with you, it's a time of family, it's a time of celebration, it's a time of self-reflection, and dare I say, performance improvement. I spent a week last week with the performance improvement lean team. It's a way to kind of look at yourself and say, how am I showing up in the world, and how do I better myself, and how do I enjoy the blessings that I have, and how do I extend my blessings to others. So charity is a very important part of Ramadan as well. And while the fast may seem difficult, which it is, I'm very strong for the first, I'd say 2.5 weeks, and then towards the end I start to run out of gas. But it still feels wonderful. It still feels like a month of blessings, and it still feels like a month of joy. So that's what the sweetness is for me.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's they call it the second part dip, where the first 10 days it's like you're going so excited about it. Then the next 10 days like okay, and then the last 10 nights you're like okay, I gotta pump through this, and they're really nice. So thank you so much, Sister Rueda. Next, we're going to have Brother Sammy. So Brother Sammy, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a favorite personal or family tradition that relates to Ramadan for you?
Assalamu alaikum and welcome everyone. My name is Sammy Kasim. I'm actually a fire safety director at Mount Sinai. This month brings very good traditions to the families, and where you they cook different foods, different traditionals. You get together, you invite friends, and it brings happiness to almost everyone, the rich and the poor, the needy, the kids. I remember where my kids, just to ask me when Ramadan comes, how come Ramadan doesn't come almost every 2 other months? Because the feeling of Ramadan is different. They live differently in Ramadan. We go out for Taraweeh, we pray at night, and as our Prophet, peace be upon him, has told us, who stands praying to God in Ramadan, he will be forgiven. His sin will be forgiven. This month is very blessed month, and just as Allah describes to us, this month is a month of the Quran, where we read Quran at night, and it's guidance also, as described in the Quran. So this is how we welcome Ramadan. We welcome it with the happiness, and we end it with happiness, as one of my brothers says. You end it with Eid, and this is the celebration for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Taraweeh at night, and that is basically a night prayer that happens. It's typically not done in the outside of Ramadan, where everyone you'll find people praying all night, even when they have work sometimes. They're fasting throughout the whole day. They're praying throughout the night, and somehow everyone has got this stamina that keeps them going. But like Brother Sammy said, it's you keep on going, and you feel that sweetness, and that powering through in Ramadan. So then the next question that I have is for Dr. Nakadar. If you could please introduce yourself as well. What is one thing that Mount Sinai Health System can do to better the experience of Ramadan for Muslim staff and also patients?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Zubair Nakadar. I'm the Senior Director of Lab Operation and Associate Professor in Department of Surgical Pathology at main campus, and a Senior Director for the Mount Sinai Health System. I would like to go a little bit back to give you my perspective about the Ramadan and how that's going to impact our life on a daily basis, and how it's going to impact that on our daily basis when we are working here at Mount Sinai. So as a devotee Muslim, my actually entire life revolves around this month, and an entire year revolves around this month. As Sheikh Imam Zakir, also Brother Walid said, that this is a month of Quran. So the Quran was revealed in this month, and so it says that the more you read this Quran and reflect upon the Quran, and during the day and night, it is benefit you, is the guidance for not only for the Muslims, but for the entire humankind. Second thing, during the fasting whole day, as Brother Walid says, it's really challenging sometimes. We are abstaining from the food and as other things that Sheikh mentioned. So it's a different set of mind, how to reflect during the day, early morning. We are getting up for suhoor to just have something to eat before dawn and until the sunset, or when we start fast, breaking fast. It's about 13-14 hours, and that is the peak time for our work here at Mount Sinai or wherever. That's the normal shift. And what I am telling that this Ramadan teaches us the discipline to do everything. It's lined up our activities the way it should be. And if you practice in Ramadan, it's easier for you to follow the entire year. So while working at Mount Sinai, what I think that as just said, Mount Sinai is providing a lot of things and a lot of flexibility at main campus, especially. They have provided us with the space for Salat to pray, and also the spiritual care is also providing for our employees and patients and patient relatives to for the breaking of fast, as well as one of our closest vendor, Bawarchi, is also providing the food, is making arrangements for the food for those who are fasting and those who are working the evening shift. But the main thing, if I have to ask Mount Sinai how they can do it, one more thing, if they allow us to work either from home, if it's possible, so we can accommodate all our duties, what we are supposed to do for the Ramadan, or if at least making the flexible schedule, the managers can allow them to work few hours and take some rest, and then allow some, as long as the productivity and whatever they are doing it's not jeopardized. I think that will be a huge favor to all the Muslim employees, as well as all the support staff. I believe that will give us more feelings to the Mount Sinai that they are taking so much initiative to help the Muslim employees.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nakadar, for that. We are, we're very grateful for Mount Sinai to be with some areas, with some sites having prayer rooms as an example. And we'll talk a little bit about what, every site is doing afterwards. But, it's difficult as the day progresses. So yes, if there can be fewer meetings, in the afternoon or closer to the iftar time, which is the time when everyone breaks the fast, those would always be wonderful. But just, for everyone to keep in mind that your staff, especially if they do work night shifts, that they're going to be breaking the fast. So they definitely need time because they haven't eaten all day. And then just having that time in the morning before they have to start, keeping the fast, to give them that time as well to eat something. So thank you so much, Dr. Nakadar. I will go next to Brother Ijaz. Brother Ijaz, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about if you have a Ramadan related story or experience from working at Mount Sinai or just in general here in New York.
Assalamu alaikum, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Begin in the name of Allah, the merciful, the kind. And thank you for this. I'm actually very happy to have this session going on over there. And my name is Ijaz Siddiqui. I'm a system manager, system-wide manager for electrocardiography. And I'll be here for like 26 years now. And I've been also the Muslim liaison working with the spiritual care department. And it has been a wonderful partnership with them, and try to bring a lot of good for the Muslim community at Mount Sinai. I mean, is somebody saying something? I keep getting a feedback. No. My in terms of memory, I have one with my father who had passed away a few years ago, and it was always, I missed not going with him to the mosque every night for Tarawih, and taking care of him, and then seeing the thing that he did during that time. So I definitely miss him. We did that for years, and then few years ago, he passed away. So, but I do try to act upon the thing that he was doing in meeting people and doing the charity and doing extra Quran and prayers over there. So I try to remember those and I remember him through those acts. And of course, we had a lot of community iftars and gathering in the mosque, and that's what I try to we try to bring it back into the Muslim community at the Mount Sinai Hospital here, the message site. And there was a couple of occasions where there was a patient who was very ill in the CQ, or was it NICU? I forgot what the ICU. And patient was here for a long duration, several months here. And he actually passed away towards the end of Ramadan, but his family was here in the last few days. And there were about, I think, close to 17, 18 family members there. And they were here all day, and fasting time came upon. And I was visiting that patient regularly. So I actually went there and I saw all of them. And I invited them to please join for the iftar during in the mosque downstairs, and they were really happy to have that comfort and that support available to them, and not have to go away, to for that session away from their loved ones. So that it was like a lot of happiness with them, and they really enjoyed and they really appreciated that effort. And that's why we always try to bring the information to the nurse managers and the floors and to this broadcast, to make sure if we have Muslim patients in our hospital, we always tell those floors and those nurse managers to please, if they see patients visitors coming to visit those patients during the end of the day, at that time, let them know that we do have iftar arrangements, and they can just come down and we can arrange that. And we definitely appreciate the hospital in accommodating and facilitating the nutrition and the dietary department, the cafeteria department, to help facilitate all the services they have done over the years, and to make it available so we can serve our patients and their families also.
Thank you so much, Brother Josh, for sharing the story about your father and just his beautiful patient story as well. It's definitely difficult for families and patients who are here during this special time, and just having to figure out where they're going to break their fast at, and how they're going to be able to take care of their loved ones in this month is very difficult. So thank you for shedding light on that. I want to open it up to the rest of our panelists here. Just for a couple more minutes, I want to ask you guys, are there any other traditions or any special foods that you have, that you eat that you haven't shared yet, or any other experience about Ramadan that you would like to share with everyone?
I know, like, already it's few days still left, and my wife has been spending time in the kitchen trying to get all the things ready for the wonderful things we will have during Ramadan. So that's the whole preparation about that, and she actually does all that in advance of it, so that she doesn't have to spend time during the Ramadan, so she can spend more time for the ibadah and the prayers. But I mean, I see for a couple of weeks already small preparation, the shopping, the grocery, and then the preparation of the food that we'll be doing in iftar. And I always look forward to the family gathering that we have. We always have we have a large family, and we always gather together in different venues and break the fast together, which is a very good thing especially for the upcoming children and the elders also.
Yeah, we definitely have everyone, I know, decorating their houses and just preparing all the food and sending out invites for dinners and things like that. So everyone, the preparation is in full swing. Anybody else from the panel? I know Dr. Javed, Rueda, you guys spoke a little bit in the beginning. Would you guys like to add anything?
Actually, the food in Ramadan is more than any other month, Sister Aaron, because especially the sweets after when you come back from Tarawih, you feel like a little bit light, and then you eat some sweet, and then the sweets of Ramadan, it brings the sweet of the theme itself is a spiritual month where you find a lot of things around you. are, very good and blessed, and this is the month that we always wait for.
Yep, no, absolutely. It's that's a really nice part, coming back and doing that. Sister Rueda, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe a reminder for all of us that my family included, we get all kinds of sweets. There's 3 or 4 different kinds of dishes to break our fast with. But we oftentimes have to remind each other of others who don't have access to this. So that's a big part of our family's tradition. We try to either support iftar somewhere else in the world where people can't get to it, or support one locally. And then we like to do things like this where we invite Muslims and non-Muslims alike to enjoy and experience Ramadan with us. So sometimes I'll invite a friend of mine to fast and see what the fast is like one day at least, and to kind of understand what it is to fast during Ramadan and what that might feel like. So those 2 things were sort of reminders for myself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we really, thank you everyone again for coming to this. So hopefully you are getting to experience just a little bit about, what Ramadan is.
One last thing, just to reflect on Sister Rueda's point, that this is the month of charity. And one of the pillar of Islam is paying zakat. That's, your money need to be cleaned. So what is prescribed upon us, that on your savings, you have to take 2.5% of your money and distribute for the charity, especially the charity starts from your family home. Those your relatives that or the surroundings, the neighbors, if they are in need, definitely you can provide it. Or there are so many different countries that they are suffering. They don't even have even food or drink water. And if they can be supported with this money, that's kind of the discipline that Ramadan teaches us. And most of us, taking zakat, especially in Ramadan, so they can be more benefited themselves by getting more ajr, more sawab, more benefits from the Ramadan.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
I was just gonna just add to the conversation. I know Sean has kind of jumped in saying he might try, so I'm putting him on spot. But I was just I think it's not an impossible task that we do, but I think if I have to get things done by one person who's fasting during Ramadan, I think I have higher chances of it getting accepted. So I have a list of things I'm gonna get Raveda to sign off on. So like things like so there's like a secret time for us to be extremely generous. So any raises, anything like that, Raveda's team can reach out to her. I'm telling you, it might happen. So generosity, not only with money, as Dr. Nakhtar was saying, but also with our actions. And like we don't want to hurt anyone. We don't want and it's hard. It's hard when you're fasting and you're like, oh my God, 5 p.m. and just like room is spinning, and you just need to we have to just need to be kind and nice to each other, which which is sometimes a little hard, but yeah. But I see so many people join, so I was really like, if Iram is fine with you, like, should we ask everybody to just join in and ask questions?
Absolutely, yes. So if our panelists are, thank
I
you
just want to remind you all, because this is the first question that came through. There's a question in the chat by Apollinari. Yeah.
Yep. So thank you all so much, our panelists, for your insights and your experiences, sharing them with us for how Ramadan, what it means to you, and what your traditions are. We want to open it up now to the group on here to ask questions, and I'll read some of the questions in the chat. And also, if you have a Ramadan story or an experience that you'd like to share, please, we love for you to do that. If you could raise your hand, I'll call upon you. So I'm going to start with the first question. It was, does the Mount Sinai Islamic community include the Muslims from other parts of the world, or is it exclusively for Asian community only? I can start this, and then I'm going to let my colleagues here join in. But the Mount Sinai Muslim community, just the Muslim community in general, includes anyone from around the world. So many different ethnicities. They're not just Asian ethnicities. We have so many Muslims from every continent in the world. So the Mount Sinai community certainly includes people from all over the world, really.
Yeah, I think we have had collaboration with our Asian network and other networks, but it's not limited to any. I 100% agree. We are trying to organize ourselves, but like it's you and us, we are all together in this. We are one community, Mount Sinai community. Within that, we are the Muslim community, which is just like everybody's invited, everyone.
Thank you so much. Any questions that anybody has, please feel free to ask. We'd also love to hear about experiences from the group. Feel free to unmute or raise your hand. I know that one question that's always asked, and I think that Imam Zakir sort of talked about this before, was that can you what are you restraining from? Are you just fasting from food? Are there certain foods? You can't even have water. So yeah, we can't even have water. There's nothing that we eat or drink at all throughout the entire daylight time during this month. And also it's every day for those 30 days, right? So it's not the entire, we're fasting from from the first of the month to the end completely.
The other thing I wanted to share is that we do prepare with a meal called the suhoor, which is before we start our fast. We try to, I mean, I've eaten everything, but what usually helps me is having protein. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is very significant in Islam, is that we typically break our fast, and I thank the downtown team for preparing this for us the past couple of years I've been here, with dates and water. The nutritional value behind dates is really been very well established, but this was a tradition from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, and I think a lot of sites are going to be providing dates and water this time around. I know Morningside definitely is as well. So you can, tell your staff to reach out to us or reach out to their spiritual care department to find out more about that, and also about some of the iftars or the breaking of the fast that are going to happen. But yeah, I mean, to your point, suhoor, it's funny because sometimes I know that there are some restaurants that are they're open really, really late. They usually close at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, but in Ramadan they have a special and they're open till, they open at 1 a.m. or 12 a.m. and they close at around 5 a.m. or so. And they have this heavy breakfast that they'll have. And in my tradition, I'm from Pakistan. So in Pakistan, what a lot of people do is they will interestingly have a very heavy breakfast in the morning or at night, and they'll include a lot of those like curries and bread and things like that. So they'll have like a whole meal in the morning, and then when they break their fast in the evening, they're having it's smaller. They're having a lot of fried foods like samosas, if you've heard of samosas, and things like that. And they'll eat less, but then in the morning they'll eat more. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so instead of losing weight, sometimes the other things happen too. We need to watch that too. It's very interesting phenomena.
So we're planning. I'm sorry, did you have more questions, Iram?
No, I mean, if there's no other question from the group, we can talk a little bit about what we're doing at each site.
Yeah, so I actually was going to ask a question. So our group is looking to put together a conversation. I think the main hospital has done this in the past around fasting in different cultures or different traditions. So I'm wondering if anyone on the call wants to share their experience with fasting and how it's similar or different to what we described.
I'd love to call on somebody, but
I think somebody unmuted.
In absence of that question, hopefully it will become soon. Just wanted to, go to the root word of fasting Ramadan, which is Saum, the Arabic word. And I would hopefully Imam Zakir can shed more light on it, but Saum actually means to restrict or hold back. They actually used to use the word in the early days in Arab for preparing the horses, holding them back from eating whatever to be prepared for the fight. And basically, that's what it is. So it's all about discipline, and and in terms of when you can begin your fast and what time you have to get up in the middle of the night, early morning, late to do the sahur, and then even that you have to stop before dawn comes. And certain things you don't do that are allowed during the normal day, that you're not allowed to do that. So it's all about, and the idea is that this will teach you and prepare you for the remaining 11 months of the year to discipline your life and to control your life and have a responsible and more mature and answerable life pattern, where you act in a more responsible human being. In there, of course, the charity you're doing here and the help and the compassion for the people and surrounding you, all that should go on throughout the year. And there was a presentation here a couple of years ago by Dr. Nasser Shahid, and he had a very interesting management. Stop me if there's a question in between.
there's a question. You finish, and then we do have a question.
So in terms of the habit that people attain, it says typically, this is the scientific research and all that, takes about 6 weeks for someone to break a habit. And they actually use that now in addictions and things like that also. So he was comparing that to the 30 days of Ramadan and the 6 days of Shawwal, which are very highly recommended to fast afterwards, and the 3 days of Shaban. That comes out, that's 60 days, which is same thing, which is now being proven and researched by the scientific world also. That is actually, represents that. So I just want to bring that up.
Thank you so much. I see that Naya Baloch, you have a question or a comment?
Yes. Hi, my name is Naya Baloch. I'm a first year MPH student at Mount Sinai. And thank you to you, Iram, and all the panelists. It was very useful information. So my question was, is there a student association, like Muslim Student Association, who organizes an event for Eid or any other celebration at Mount Sinai?
I'll let Dr. Nakadar or Brother Ijaz answer that.
So there is an MSA at Mount Sinai, and I don't know if I'm still not, but I was a faculty advisor for that. And it's a smaller group, and we had actually in past more interaction with them, depending on who is available and what the schedule is. So yes, there is an MSA available. I mean, if you can reach out later on, you can connect you with them if nobody's already on from that group. But we'll love to get more involvement with them. In the past, we had some sessions and events, put together in conjunction with them.
And we have.
I want to add one thing though, but if you can spread the news among your students also, that if they are here and there's a fasting time, just walk into the mosque, which is in the Guggenheim Pavilion Chapel inside. That's always available.
Right, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I would love to connect and maybe involved in the group.
Sure.
Thank you, Naya. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea, Nayab. Actually, my daughter's name is Nayab as well. Just putting it out there. So I am. But that's a wonderful idea. Actually, all of us had been discussing various possibilities or directions, including a combined iftar for the entire community. But we want to get everybody involved. It's not only it's not like I'm running the show or Aram is running the show, it's all of us. So we need to work together. So if you guys are interested, we should do more. I did see Sophia unmuted, so I asked, and she had some comments. I'm gonna put her in spotlight for a second.
So actually, I'm gonna give it to Joe first, because Joe has her hand up, and then after that, I want to give it to Sophia. So let's do that. Joe?
Hi, thank you everyone for a really meaningful conversation. I wanted to respond to the question that Roweda posed. I'm Jewish, and there are a number of fast days in our calendar. The only one that I observe is Yom Kippur. The word that we use for fast is also Tzom. Hebrew and Arabic are cognate languages, and there are lots of sounds that are very similar and in a similar semantic range. Fasting for one day on Yom Kippur is so different from fasting for a whole month during Ramadan, and I'm really in awe of one of you used the word discipline. I'm really in awe of the discipline and the connection to community and the commitment to being accountable to family and community beyond your individual selves. But I find it very meaningful to fast on Yom Kippur and to be in synagogue with my community and to really have that shared experience of doing something together that transcends our own individual concerns. And I think I hear some of that in what you all are describing as well. And I just want to thank you for your generosity in sharing these stories.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience and for being here. We really appreciate it. I want to read a couple of comments from the chat, and then I want to pass it off to Sophia. So we have a couple of different people sharing. I know, Joe, you just shared. Then we have Lindia. Lindia said, I'm Christian. I've participated in the Daniel fast. There are many variations, but most focus on fruits, vegetables, and nuts. It's a phased approach off of meat, but fish is usually allowed. Thank you for sharing. And then I also have Sneha Grover here. I'm sorry I cannot come off mute, but my partner is Jane, and he fasts for Baryushana, which is an 8-day fast to signify purification. And he often speaks on the self-discipline aspect, as you mentioned, for Ramadan. And then we had another couple. Sean, you said that I'd love to work with the panelists to participate in a fast, test my discipline. Anyone who wants to do that, please, it'd be very fun to do. Let us know. All right, I want to now give it to Sophia. Sophia, are you still here? Would you like to unmute?
Hi, yes, I'm still here. One, I wanted to just comment on something Joe had said earlier. I did not know that in the Jewish religion, it was also Psalm. So thank you for sharing that. It was really interesting to learn. I didn't know we were both using the same words. So that's very interesting. And then just hopping back to like a couple of questions ago about traditions and stuff. My favorite thing to do these days now during Ramadan is celebrating with my nephews. They're 8, so they're just at that age now where they should start fasting and everything. So trying to find out new ways to kind of make it fun for them and make them kind of motivate them to fast. One of them is saying he's going to try to fast until snack time. So we'll see how it goes. I know they're big sugar people, so let's see how snack time goes for them. But I just love watching their faces when we decorate for Ramadan. It's such a joy to watch them get happy over it. And especially I feel like for younger generations now, when I was growing up, it was more like spending time with family during Ramadan, going to iftars and stuff. But now we try to make it more, I don't know what the correct word is, but kid friendly, kind of doing decorations, giving them mini like treats every day to kind of boost their morale, take them to Jummah, take them to we'll usually do like a Jummah treat nowadays during Ramadan to kind of like get them in the habit of going to Jummah and treating it as a special day. So it's just fun to watch little kids also be brought up and see how important Ramadan is.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Sophia. It's definitely, it's trying for adults, but even more trying for children. And children don't necessarily have to fast. I think the fasting age is, of puberty and later. But it's really fun watching children, seeing the adults fast and seeing that they also want to fast. So doing until, like you said, Sophia, snack time or until lunchtime. And it's really cute to see that. And I want to point out here that Dr. Javed, you have a really nice comment here. You said, great points to everyone. I think fasting is universal in one form or the other. And for us, there's nothing to eat or drink from sunrise to sunset like NPO. Yep. Any other questions or comments from anybody? Chris, I see that you've unmuted. I don't know if you're unmuted just to be unmuted or.
No, I just wanted to say I'm sorry I'm late joining.
We're happy to have you. Thank you for being here. Anybody else that would like to share their experience, whether it's from the panel or a question or comment from the audience? Okay. If not, well, we really thank you all for being here. We want to tell everyone a little bit about what's going to be available at the different sites. So Mount Sinai, BI, and Brooklyn, Dr. Javed and Ruwaida, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what is going to be happening in Ramadan at your site?
So Joe Zeno is here as well, and he is kind of like our spiritual care lead and also my neighbor, and he can highlight, and he sent a really good message earlier today. So basically we'll have dates and water available for suhoor and iftar time. We also have a place to pray. That's N6 is in Linsky, and that's if anybody needs the code to that place, Jabe actually has codes to that room. It's just a secure room just to keep the things in. So he can make. And then lastly, I think Jabe and I have been talking with our nutritional services director to see to make food available for iftar for patients and their families during iftar time. If you recognize somebody there, and that's what we'll try to communicate. If we recognize people who might be fasting, we'll try to help them with their breaking their fast. So things like that we're trying to do at this time, and it's very similar to in Brooklyn as well.
So and then Brother Ijaz and Dr. Nakala, can you tell everyone a little bit what's happening at MSH, and if you know of the school or Queens?
Yes, so we definitely have, iftar arrangements at the mosque, which is inside the chapel in the GP1 central lobby area. We have all the mosque is open for all 5-time prayers. With the cafeteria, the dietary department really helps out a lot. So we have all, drinks and fruits and dates and all kind of different. And I do want to single out at this point a sister Seher from our dietary department. She works in the cafeteria and she is excellent. She'll be helping out great, and she provides the food which is more nutritious, in sight of what Ramadan is all about, and that's a really that to her also. Thank you, Sister Seher. And we do have so we have that arrangement. We have, make sure we try to get to all the relatives who are visiting patients, so make sure we inform them on the floors that if there's anybody available visiting those hours, please join us downstairs. We try to reach out to through this also. I would like to reach out to the employees who work in the evening and late shift, that please, if you know someone of yourself, that let them know that we do have iftar arrangements here also. And of course, during that iftar, we make sure we have to supply enough. We have enough food available so that people who are working overnight shift, they take for the suhoor also with them and do the prayers also. That's the basic. And I don't know, Dr. Nagla, if you want to add something to it.
Yes, definitely. This is a joint effort between the spiritual care department and one of our local vendor, Brother Aziz from Bawarchi Restaurants, from past many years, that he is also sponsoring food for those who are coming for iftar. At least for 15 to 20 people. And we would like everyone who is working evening hours to go and join the iftar, and also provide us the names so we know exactly for how many people we wanted to make an arrangement. Second thing, as Brother Izaz mentioned, that the masjid is open 24/7 for everyone to go and pray there. And we have our Iqama times also, congregation salah for the all 5 times. So those are the times is already written there on the TV screen, as well as on the wall. There is a times written. So please encourage everyone, especially in Ramadan, to just go and pray in congregation, especially on Jummah, that we are having 2 Jummahs, one at 1 o'clock, and second one, if there are more than 3 persons are attending at 1:30, we'll have a 2 Jummahs for everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Nakadar. And Jummah is a Friday prayer that we have every Friday around lunchtime. And in Ramadan, a lot more, I know that a lot more people would like to go to it. So I see, Nida, you have a question in the chat about Queens. We will find out for you and definitely let you know. And as far as Mount Sinai Morningside and West, we do have a prayer room. It is in the chapel. And if you need a code, just let me know, or let our chaplain Esther Roman know. And we are also going to be having dates and water. And we are potentially also working with our cafeteria to see if we can provide any meals. The last thing I want to say is that we are going to be having Eid cards for patients. So if you have any patients that you would like to give an Eid card to on the day of Eid, please let us know or talk to your spiritual care department. With that, I want to ask Jasmine to bring up a QR code that everyone can scan. And this is just to provide feedback on how the event went. We would love to hear from you to make this a better event going in the future. And with that, we really appreciate all of you being here today. Ramadan Kareem and Ramadan Mubarak to everyone on here. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Thank you,
Ramadan Mubarak to everyone.
Please give us as many comments as you can. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.